Hi, guys. For my community project, I chose to do the town of Holly Springs, North Carolina, which I don't currently live there right now, but I did until recently, and my two daughters go to school there. So it was a town I decided I wanted to focus on. Um, Holly Springs is located in North Carolina, and it's about 20 minutes south of Raleigh, which you can see right here. This is where Raleigh is. This is Wake County, and this is the town of Holly Springs. This is a picture of the town hall, and this is kind of like a zoomed in map of Holly Springs. Some quick facts on Holly Springs. Well, here's like a 2 minute quick overview of the town that I got off the town website. Some other facts: it was named for the holly trees and natural springs. It was a Civil War town, um, which lost a great part of the male population during and after the Civil War. It had railroads and industry that built in the 1800s, and over the decades, it went from kind of a rural community, farming and things of that nature, to a thriving suburb of Raleigh. It is ethnically diverse, which we'll see the breakdown in a minute. But we have a lot of Asian, Middle Eastern, Indian, and Hispanic populations, which are rising. I included this slide to show just a reference, a play that was put on by the Holly Springs Cultural Arts Center, um, which showed a lot of the history on slavery. The play is called Finding Patience, and I pulled this quote from our local newspaper, the News and Observer. After the Civil War ended in 1865, many white landowners left to seek fortune elsewhere, leaving freed slaves and their ancestors to till the land. Until the late 1980s, Holly Springs remained a predominantly black community. It wasn't until early 1990s that modern plumbing overtook septic tanks and outhouses. So that kind of gives you some important information that's definitely relevant to the town, even to this day. And also, that land that was, well, there was a big piece of land that was owned by a predominant family, farming family, and they left a big chunk of land in Holly Springs to some freed slaves, and then they later sold it to Walmart Corporation, which is good and bad. Good for the folks, but it is a big corporation. However, it brings a lot of employment to the town to this day. Okay, my slide is not responding. Oops, sorry. Oops, sorry. Back to the beginning. Okay, this is the breakdown of the demographics. You can see that Holly Springs is predominantly white, and then there's still this big pocket of African Americans, and then Asian, Hispanic, multiracial. Um, the area the population is growing yearly. So with that, because of industry, business, the medical field, the universities, it's becoming a much more diverse community, which is good. Some demographics. This just shows the breakdown of family makeup, husband and wife family, couples with children, non-family household, single, living alone, single as a parent, and household with a senior. And then this chart just shows population estimates. So based on age. So you can see here there are a huge number of individuals between the ages of 5 and 19. And let's see, this doesn't break, this is, oh yeah, it does break down Holly Springs. Here's Holly Springs. So that shows that in Holly Springs, that number is even higher compared to the county, to North Carolina, and to the US. Some additional statistics. There are 1,417 veterans. The poverty rate is 3.9%. Crime rate is 9.23%. That's total crime, as in like violent and property crime, etc. High school graduation rate is 95.7. Bachelor degree or higher is 56.7%. And the median household income is $98,041. Not my income, but this was not the case when I first moved down here 14 years ago. It's just the influx of people moving south from the north and um, from cities nearby, Chapel Hill, Raleigh. It's just changing that dynamic. As far as education and industry, we have 5 elementary schools, 2 middle, 1 high, and then universities. We have NC State, Duke, and UNC, which are all within like 40 minutes driving. And then there's many local colleges, private schools in the area, in Raleigh and surrounding areas. Um, let's see. Oh, one note about schools that I made was that there are a lot of neighborhoods in and around Raleigh who feed into Holly Springs schools in an effort to minimize neighborhood schools, which in essence means that, well, it would mean that some schools would be under resourced and not an equal education for all students. So there's a lot of people who are for neighborhood schools and a lot of people who are against for various reasons. But personally, I feel that until schools are resourced equally and staffed with quality staff, that I'm for busing personally. Some local employers are Securus, that's a flu vaccine manufacturer. Then there's Wake County Public Schools, State of North Carolina Government, Rex Healthcare, IBM, Wake Med Hospitals, universities. SAS Institute is a big one, GlaxoSmithKline, and Lenovo. And then the Research Triangle Park is about 10 miles away from Holly Springs, and that employs thousands of people all over the world. And people commute there from even 2 hours away daily. So that alone is a huge place of employment with a number of different businesses and industries. Some informal institutions in Holly Springs. As far as religion, there's almost every single religion you can think of. With well, locally in the town, there's your um, probably the most common Christian religions, Baptist, Presbyterian, etc. And then in nearby towns is the Church of Latter-day Saints. There are Jewish synagogues, Muslim temples, and there's a Buddhist temple. And then there's more than that, but really it's endless seeing Raleigh so close by, and Durham and Chapel Hill. So. Other organizations are YMCA, the Hunt Recreation Center, the Cultural Arts Center, a library, farmers market. There's sporting opportunities for kids and adults. There's multiple parks and greenways and year-round festivals. But really, it's just endless the number of things you can do in Holly Springs and in Wake County. Okay, so this seems like a lot, but the way I broke down whether or not Holly Springs makes a good community is by using the article that we had to read from Ohio State, not and that was called "Seeking the Good Community." In that article, they discuss 9 factors that make a community, quote, good. So breaking down those 9 factors, safety, um, in Holly Springs, the crime rate is only 9.23%. And hurricanes are our highest threat of natural disaster. We have had some, Fran, most recent is Matthew, that did a lot of damage. Fran was devastating. So that is one factor that would bring our safety factor down. Goods and services, we have pretty much anything you could imagine that would make it an easy place to live, except for there's one thing that I talk about in my last slide. Relationships that bind citizens together. This is a close knit and ethnically diverse community. Many groups of interest, religious organizations, community centers, town meetings. Commonality of values and goals. For the most part, residents work together to keep Holly Springs safe. They support the schools and their children. They keep the town clean, and there's recreational activities and so on. Whole person principle is number 5. It's a small community, but Holly Springs has groups and organizations based on individual needs and interests. So um, even though it's a small community, and even though there's an influx in population, it still has kind of that close knit feeling, and where there's something for everyone, um, that your own particular interests could be fulfilled there. Predictability. Holly Springs provides a feeling of familiarity in everyday life due to the small town nature. Um, is it a recognized place in the social structure, or a recognized place in the social structure? Sorry. It's still small enough to recognize individuals and families by ways of newspaper and schools and other local venues. So a lot of people do know the other residents in the town, and things that are going on. Opportunities, there are many different avenues which attract personal taste, values, beliefs, growth, and employment. So, it really is a place for a blue collar worker all the way up to white collar. There's many different places where, as I said before, people can work. And then homogeneity, sorry. Residents of Holly Springs move there to live and work in a town that is growing, has big and small business, it's close knit, and welcomes newcomers regardless of race, religion, ethnicity, and socioeconomic background. Sorry. And then here, my opinion, making it a better community, I'd like to see it become more diverse, and also be have more opportunity for affordable living. And as I said before, I moved here 14 years ago, and at that point, Holly Springs was just a tiny, sleepy town, not much going on there at all. And now it's become one of the most desirable places to live in North Carolina. There, okay, here I did talk about the busing in. So that's something that I personally fight for, to maintain the busing in of students. And that's in quotations. That's just the general name of what that's referred to as. So those are the 3 biggest things that I see, in making Holly Springs become a better community. And then here are just some photos, because I didn't have a chance to take pictures going down the road. But these pictures are from school, with schools, and those are my 2 girls, um, big one, little one, and friends. And then this just shows that my kids have opportunity to pursue their talents. And so Emily does dance and Anna does gymnastics. They're both competitive. And here are my references. So that is it. Sorry to fly through it. I think I had too many slides, but I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I look forward to seeing everybody else's towns. Bye.